Okay, so we're going to be dividing positives and negative numbers. And we're just going to review the stuff about negatives and positives. Multiplying. So if I had a negative times a positive, what do we get?
A negative.
Yes. If I have a negative times a negative,
You have a positive.
right. What if I just did it how you've been doing it all along, before you learned all these negatives and positives, positives, a positive. The same rules apply for division, okay? So when I do division, I could write it a couple different ways. I could write it as a fraction, or I could write it with a division symbol. So let's do it first, just as a regular division symbol. So if I do negative divided by a positive, I'm going to get
A negative.
okay? If I do a positive divided by a negative, I get
A negative?
negative. So I can flip those around, and it doesn't matter, okay? Just like we can multiplication. Now, but it doesn't work commutative with numbers, but with negatives and positives it does, okay? If I did a negative divided by a negative,
It'd be positive.
very good. And then the same old thing you've been doing your whole life, a positive divided by a positive
Is a positive.
is a positive. Now, I could write this like a fraction though. So I could say I have a negative on top and a positive on the bottom. So that would mean a negative divided by a positive, and that's a negative.
Yeah.
Okay? And I could flip it around and have the positive on the top
and the negative on the bottom.
and it doesn't really matter.
It'll be a negative
It's
stuff.
negative also. And if I had a negative divided by a negative, we'd have a positive. Very good. And then we can do again the positive.
Positive and the positive.
And the positive
And
is
it's
still
positive.
a positive. Okay? So if we did some examples, and we did 8 divided by negative 2,
It would be negative 4.
very good. And if we did 25 divided by, or negative 25 divided by negative 5,
You'll have positive 5.
positive 5. We don't have to write that with the little division symbol. We could write it as a fraction. We could say 100 divided by negative 50.
Would be 2. Negative 2.
Negative 2. Very good. Okay. Now let's talk about what happens when since we're doing division, algebra has something new in it. If I try to divide something by 0, if I try to say I have, oh, by the way, let's just back up for a minute. This means I have 8 things, and I'm dividing it. If I just took this out for just a moment, okay. And this says I'm dividing it into 2 parts.
Right.
And that means I'd have 4 things in each of them, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's go over, and if I had 8 things, and I wanted to divide it by 0,
It'd be 0.
that would mean
No,
I had
it'd be-
8 things, and I'm trying to give it,
It'd be 8.
I'm trying to divide it into 0 things.
Uh-huh.
So back over here, this said I had 8 things, and I wanted to give it to 8 people, right?
No.
2 people.
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
2 people. This said I had 8 things, I want to give it to 2 people. This says I have 8 things, and I wanted to give it to 0 people.
So you have 8 things.
But how many did each people get?
0. Because you didn't have, but you didn't.
Later. Yes, I can fix that later.
You didn't have.
So this says I have 8 people and 8 things, and I wanted to give it to 0 people. And then this equals always says how much does each people have. Well, if there isn't any people,
You don't have to give anything.
you don't have to give anything. So this question was asked, how many does each person have? Well,
0.
there isn't any people. This
So
doesn't
just
make
be-
sense.
Yeah.
So this is not possible.
Oh, because I was like, nothing works.
Exactly. It doesn't work. You can't divide by 0 because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you ever are dividing by 0,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work.
So
Okay?
it's just not. I just would write like the 0 with the extra.
Right. Not null set. That would work too. Yes, it just doesn't work. Okay? Now let's do it the other way around. If I had 0 divided by 8, this is I have 0 things, and I have 8 people. How much does each person get?
0.
This does make sense, because each person can have nothing. That would be fine. Okay? And so this is possible. It's 0.
Right.
This one back here was not
Was not.
possible. Okay. So looks like they have some examples here for you, like similar to what we just did. So, we did that one already. Pretty cool. So let's do like this one over here. So if I had negative 27 and I divide by 3,
it'll be negative 9.
Negative 9, okay. And I have negative 45 divided by negative 9.
Negative 5.
Very good. Looks like you got it.
Or no, it'd be positive 5.
Would it be positive?
Yeah, because they're both negative.
Good job. All right, good job. Okay. So it looks like you got it.
Okay, great.
Okay. So we just did.
Awesome.
So it looks like we did divided by negatives.
Yeah. That